Using Proxmox on data center and in a home office environment, there is some differences. Using Proxmox on data center or using Proxmox on home lab, there is some difference. The installation process is pretty much simple. You download the ISO, make it bootable, install on your system. It can be a laptop, desktop, powerful, efficient, whatever you want. The installation procedure is simple. You follow the instruction. To make the bootable pen drive, you can use Rufus or Ventoy. After the installation, you get this UI, just providing the login credential while you installed the Proxmox instance. You may get a notification like this one regarding the subscription. For home usage, many of us don't use any subscription, so better to avoid this. The main reason we use Proxmox is to have multiple virtual operating systems: Windows, Linux, even macOS, and various derivatives of Solaris or BSD variants. All are supported. If you are using Proxmox on your home or home office, initially you will only see one instance under this data center. Later on, you can add multiple servers within this data center, but this is out of scope for today. If you select this one, that means this server, I have named PVE1. If you select this one, there are so many other options like disks. Click on the data center, you got all those data center details. Under data center, only one system is listed right now. If you click that system, I have named it PVE1. All the details regarding the system is listed here. The CPU details: RAM, 32 GB of RAM, having Intel i5 12 core CPU. Then you go to the disk section. Two disks are listed here. The SDA is the default one where Proxmox is installed. Now, if we want to create any VM or container engine, we need disk provider. That means the space provider. There are four types of storage provider: LVM, LVM thin, directory, and ZFS. This is the main point. Like if you select NVM, that means it is not having the thin option. That means if you select this one will give you some more performance, but you will lose a lot of space. On data center or any production environment, you want all the performance, but here you don't want 100% performance, but you will be needed the most disk space. So it is recommended that you create virtual machine under LVM thin or directory. Much better if you select ZFS. If I click on ZFS, there is no ZFS created. Let's create a ZFS. See, I don't have any unused disk, but I see there are some disks available. As it is having partition by its own, I will not be able to use that. So let's first wipe the disk. Make sure you are not storing any data here. See, I have wiped all those partition, but still this disk will not be able to integrate into Proxmox system. As I see, this should not be the case. All those disk partitions, that means SDB 1, 2 and 3, those three partitions are showing like different disk drives. I'm not sure how do I create a ZFS having multiple disk partitions. Let's try to create a ZFS volume pool out of this drive having multiple drive partitions. I think it will be smart enough to create a single pool out of those three partitions, because it did not go through. I think if I select only one partition, it will be able to. Oh yes, it has done its tasks, and now I see this ZFS is created. Now it's time to create a virtual machine. See, there is no resource pool, so I'll have to create a resource pool over here. To create a resource pool, first go to data center, then pools, create pool. Let's create a pool. The pool is created. I think now I'll be able to create a virtual machine. Let's create a virtual machine VMID. If you are having multiple nodes under this data center, you will be able to select other node, that means other servers, but as I am having only one server, it is listed as one server. VMID by default it starts from 100. Resource pool, now we have pool 1. The first pool. I will name it as OS1. Next, local. You can use CD or DVD attached to that server if you are having, but nowadays no one use CD or DVD, so I'll have to upload an ISO to install any operating system. So let's do that first. To do that, I will have to go to storage. So I'll have to go to ISO images and upload from here. Let's select my ISO file located on my ISO folder. Let's select FreeBSD and upload. This will take a while to upload as this drive is more than 4 GB. Yes, the upload has been completed. So right now we are having FreeBSD ISO available to install. Now let's retry to create the virtual machine again, as we are having the ISO image. Let's name this as FreeBSD1. Resource pool would be the pool 1. Next, storage local. Let's select the FreeBSD release. Select this one as other. What would be the best match? Linux, Windows, it would not be the best match. I think Solaris would be better similar. Let's select other. Now I can select the graphics card. My built-in graphics card is not listed here, but I understand there is other ways to do that, and Q35 is the way to go. I don't want any UEFI, so default C BIOS is okay. As I don't need UEFI, the TPM would be no need. QEMU agent also I don't need. Here is the main part. You must not select the local LVM. If you are having any thin LVM thin, you can select that one, but in my case I have created ZFS pool, so let's select the ZFS pool. Suppose I want to give a 250 GB, but it will not take whole 250 GB upfront. Only the needed space will be used. Like after the installation, it would take around 6 to 8 GB, so it will use only that much of disk space. CPU, let's give 4 core 1. CPU variant is okay to me. Next, RAM, I would like to give it 6 GB of RAM. Network, bridge network is okay. Confirm, finish. And now we can see this one is listed here. Let's try to start the VM. If you expand this node, you will be able to see this one, and the status is running. I think there is a easy way to connect this one. Yes, here I see console. If I go to console, it is connected. Good to see the FreeBSD installer on web itself. Let's try to install it. Let's make it big as full screen. Okay, host name FBSD1. This would be the best host name. Debugging I don't need. FreeBSD kernel debugging I don't need. Still it is the default one, so I would like to proceed. Auto ZFS, it is using ZFS as its base directory. Previously it used to use other type of file system, and those type of file system are not readily readable by using other operating system, even on Linux. That means Windows, macOS don't understand this type of UFS. Yes, I remember that partition was UFS, but if you select UFS or ZFS, no operating system will be able to read or write on this. Oh, ZFS is nowadays readable and writable by Linux operating systems, Linux based operating systems. Proceed with the installation. Stripe, no redundancy. ZFS, let's select this ADA1 and let's destroy the hard disk partition so that the fresh installation can be proceed. Now it has started the operating system installation. As I see, the operating system installation is already started. So the partition, it is time to take a look on that partition. How much disk space is used? If I see 250 GB is already used, I think I have made some kind of mistake. That is the reason why it is consuming the whole 256 GB of disk space upfront. I'm not sure. This is the main reason why most of us not able to install Proxmox as a virtualized operating system. Many of us like to go with VirtualBox, because VirtualBox by default provides a good system, good way, so that all those disk spaces do not get consumed upfront. I'm only having 500 GB SSD on that system apart from the base 128 GB base operating system, so it will be much harder if we go with this installation. So let's cancel this installation and we'll try to make a solution. How do I create virtual operating system using Proxmox but not using the whole space upfront? Here is the main issue. The issue is raw disk image. In this format, it gives the maximum read and write performance, so it captures all the free space upfront. Whatever I select, IDE, SATA or VART-IO, even SCSI, if the format is selected as raw, it will acquire all the spaces. Let's see if I can find any other issue or if I get any solution by removing this one. Let's remove this ZFS pool and create a LVM thin. Let's create a NVM thin on this one. The thin pool is created. Now I will create the virtual machine on LVM thin. Let's see if the pre-occupying issue gets resolved. Let's search the issue on the internet.